email address or comments, correspondence, and feedback. And our website is also there should you want more information. Everything is inspired by the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder and Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The title today is Never Stop Growing. Look around you. This is a quote I picked up just last minute before I came up here. This is by DeWitt. He says, look around you right now, wherever you are, desks, tables, electronics, electricity, light bulbs, appliances, glassware, furniture, knick-knacks, artwork, paint, carpeting, buildings. All of these things require science, engineering, mathematics, chemistry, physics, logistics, expertise. Smart people gave us all of this. Intelligence gave us every amazing thing that we see around us and take for granted. The collective education of humankind over millennium has brought us here. A whole galaxy of humans and human know-how has come together to give us these amenities of daily existence that make the vast majority of us wealthier in health and technology and everyday human comfort than the richest kings and queens and emperors of history. And yet, you knew this was coming, right? And yet, we sneer at the experts. We spit epithets like academic elites at professors dedicating their lives to pursuing discovery that benefits mankind. We worship flashy hucksters selling lifestyle scams. We mock intelligence. We glorify egomania, crass materialism. We crave spectacle and voyeurs for anger, confrontation, and violence. It is in these ways that I regard a great many of adults in America as simply overgrown children. America's love affair with swaggering ignorance and confident stupidity continues to reach awful new heights. Hence, the subject matter for today's talk, never stop growing. Successful people take up learning, growing as a lifetime occupation. God did not create us to reach one level and stop. Whether you're 9 years old or 90 years old, you should be constantly learning, improving your skills, and getting better at what you do. Every one of us has to take responsibility for our own growth. You don't grow automatically. It's not a given. So our question today is, what steps are we taking to improve? Educational videos, or listening to vocational audios, courses on the internet, taking seminars. Do you have mentors, people that you learn from? Are you gleaning information from people who have gone before you, broken ground in the areas that you're interested in? And most importantly, are you keeping your heart and your mind open by chanting the holy names of God? We chant Hare Krishna here. There are other names for God. Any bona fide name of God is going to keep you open, keep you growing, keep you moving forward, because you're spending time with the source of all creativity, the source of all inspiration, the source of all relationships. Winners do not go through life relying on what they've already learned. Each and every one of us have unlimited treasures on the inside, potential put there by the Creator. Those gifts will not automatically come out. They have to be excavated. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If you don't mind, take a look at Krishna there on the altar. You don't see an old, withered, wrinkled, gray-haired God. You see an ever-fresh youth playing on his flute, and if you stay in touch with him by chanting his holy names, you also stay in touch with his freshness. And we need to do that. We need to not lose our youthful attitude. You'll get stale if you don't maintain your contact with the Lord, and we do that by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. The chanting will bring freshness to your marriage, freshness to your family, freshness to your career. Prahlad Maharaj, a great devotee of the Lord, he said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of life from the very beginning to practice the activities, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasam, Atmanivedanam, for devotional service. The human body is most rarely achieved. There are 8,400,000 species of life, of which only a few are human. It's rarely achieved, and although temporary, like other bodies, the human life is especially meaningful because in this life you can perform devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And even a slight amount of that sincere service can give one complete perfection. Shalpamapiyasya dharmasya. I read that the wealthiest places on earth, what do you think? They might be in the gold mines of South Africa. The richest places in the world might be the oil fields of the Middle East. But the actual fact is, the richest places in the world are graveyards. Why do we say that? Buried in that ground are businesses that were never formed, books that were never written, songs that were never composed, dreams that never came to life, potential that was never released. We're all going to end up there. Don't go there with that treasure buried. Now, while you have a chance, keep growing, keep learning. Every day, we should have a plan to grow in some way, to learn something new. We have a responsibility, not only to God, not only to our families, but to ourselves to develop what God has put in us. Whether you're in sales or human resources or auto mechanics or healthcare, you can always, I'm sure you'll agree with me, expand your knowledge and improve your skills. Read books to learn how to communicate. Work as a team member to lead more effectively. No matter what you do, there are people who are further along on that path than you are. It's a good practice to listen to what they have to say. Take an hour a day, listen to an audio, an MP3. Invest in yourself. Something intentional and strategic every day in order to improve your skills. Here's a hint of advice. Don't be vague in your approach to this. Don't say, if I have time, I'll do it. No, you're better than that. You have too much in you to stay where you are. Your destiny is too great to get stuck. And then a lot of times we sit back and say, God, I'm waiting on you. I'm waiting for my ship to come in. I'm waiting for that big break. Hey, let me tell you who gets the big break. People who are prepared. People who develop their skills as a lifestyle. I used to run around the BYO track. Every day there was a saying written there. The coach had written it that the athletes would see when they came in after lunch for their practice. So one day I read this. Success is when preparation meets opportunity. Does that sound good to you? Maybe it doesn't sound so good to you, but does it sound right to you? Success is when preparation meets opportunity. You got to practice, take those steps to grow. And when God sees you doing your part, developing what He's given you, then guess what? The magic is going to start. He's going to then do His part and open up doors that no man can shut. And we might be tempted to say, well, true, I'm too busy. I don't have time to take any training courses. I don't have time to read books. I don't have time to learn new things. I'll get behind. No, that's the wrong attitude. I heard about these two lumberjacks. They were out chopping down trees, and one of them said, I'm going to take a break and go sharpen my axe. And the other one said, I don't have time to stop. I've just got to keep working, keep chopping. Otherwise, I'll get behind. So he kept chopping and chopping, while the other man took a break, sharpened his axe, had lunch, had his soda, called his wife, said hello to his kids. And then he came back 3 hours later. In less time, he chopped more than the guy who hadn't taken the break, but kept chopping with a dull axe. Sometimes you do need to take a break. Be selfish. Take time for improvement. Sharpen your axe. If you sharpen your skills, the result will be that you'll work less hard and more effectively. Get more done in less time. Be more productive. And whether you're a teacher, a carpenter, a banker, or a doctor, doesn't matter. Don't settle where you are. Bring honor to your Creator by dovetailing what you're doing. Do it with God in the center. Don't coast or rest on your laurels. Stir up what Krishna or God has put inside and get better at it. In other words, sharpen your axe. This is a call to action. I'm telling you, there's new levels in your future. Things are shifting in your favor. Krishna is looking for people who are preparing, taking steps to improve, not just so they can make more money or get their names in the newspaper, but to become better tools of the divine. That's who we were created to be. Nitya Siddha Krishna Seva Sadhu Karanai. We are constitutionally created to serve the Lord in love and devotion. And the Lord is looking for those who are serious about fulfilling their destinies. In the Mahabharata, we read about a reversal, an unfair betrayal that occurred to, in fact, the 5 most righteous people on the planet. If there were 5 people that were the greatest devotees of Krishna 5,000 years ago, they would have been Yudhishthira, Bhisma, Arjuna, Sahadev, and Nakula, the 5 Pandavas brothers, along with their wife Draupadi. And yet they were cheated out of their kingdom. Not only that, but they were sent into the forest for 13 years as a result of a crooked dice game. Now, most of us would have completely lost it, had a pity party, and come completely unraveled. But Yudhishthira, the eldest of the Pandavas, he lived life at a higher level. He thought, the forest, there are many saints and sages there. They have inspirational tales to sell, and they themselves are pure in character and sterling. I think it might be good for me. I think that this is God's arrangement, and 13 years in the forest would be just what the doctor ordered to refine my skills, take my maturity and my wisdom to the next level, and then when I come back, I will be the better king for it. So he spent 13 years. They had a lot of adventures as well, but primarily Yudhishthira sat at the campfires of great saints and sages, immersed himself with the wisdom of the ages. So those 13 years turned out not to be the penalty that their enemies had wanted to inflict, but it was a time out for Yudhishthira to sharpen his axe, sharpen his wisdom, so that he would be a better king. And similarly, when Krishna seeks out someone to give them more influence, he doesn't just randomly close his eyes and throw a dart at the board. Oh, I'll pick this one. Congratulations, you won the lottery. It's your lucky day. No, Krishna's looking for people who have developed their skills. When we read about Prabhupada establishing the International Society for Krishna Consciousness in his old age, we have to marvel at how is an old man from the age of 70 to 82 empowered to kickstart a worldwide movement, which today has 800 temples, farms, and restaurants all over the world. And we might be tempted to think, well, he came in 1965 during the times of the counterculture when young people were looking for something new. So you might be tempted to think that Prabhupada came to the right place at the right time. And that may not be untrue, but here's a greater truth. Prabhupada spent a lifetime in preparation. He gave the sermons back in India. He wrote the books. He counseled the disciples. And after he came to America, he circled the world 14 times. Not as glamorous as you might think, especially not between the ages of 70 and 82. He wrote 80 books. He wrote 3,000 letters by hand or one-figure typing to his disciples. He established 108 centers. That's why Krishna chose him above other potential candidates, because Prabhupada spent a lifetime in preparation. Now here's the key. Your skills have to be developed. Every day, learn, grow, improve, prepare yourself. If you're going to be promoted, your shoulders are going to have to build up to the point where you can accept more responsibilities. With every blessing comes a burden. We want the blessing, but we're not prepared to shoulder the burden. And if we're not, the blessing's not going to come. Right now, you might be in a lower paying job. You might think that you're overqualified for where you are. You might correctly feel that there's much more in you than what that job brings out. So it would be tempted to think, I'll prepare as soon as I get out of this place. When I get my promotion, I'll show them that I'm qualified for it. When the good breaks come my way, when the boss promotes me, maybe then I'll take some courses, lose a few pounds, have a better attitude, buy some nicer clothes. That's backward. You have to start improving right now where you are. Start sharpening your skills. While you're waiting, study your manager's work habits. Study your best, most effective supervisor. Learn how to do their jobs. Be ready to step into their shoes. Scripture says a man's gifts make room for him. If no new doors are opening, don't get discouraged. Just keep developing your gifts. Keep developing and improving your skills. You might feel like your supervisors are not going to move you up anytime soon, but here's a secret. If you outgrow them, if you outperform them, if you outproduce them, if you know more than them, then your gifts will make room for you. Somehow, somewhere, some or other, some way, God will open a door and get you to where He wants you to be. Just keep growing, keep learning, keep preparing. When you're ready, God will open the right doors. The fact is that Krishna may not want you to have your supervisor's position. That may be too low for what he has in mind. He might want to thrust you right beyond your boss and put you at a whole new level. I've read stories about former receptionists who went from answering the phones to running multi-million-dollar companies. You will do that if you keep God first place. Someone very sagaciously once said, your talent is God's gift to you. And what you do with it is your gift back to God. So ask yourself, have you gotten comfortable? Have you started coasting? Have you learned anything new lately? Because you have so much more in you. Hopefully today we can light a fire. We can shake a little bit of that complacency. Ignite your desire to sharpen your skills. To be a winner in life, you have to develop your gifts to the point where your temple, your company, can't make it without you. You want your bosses to know that things will not run nearly as smoothly when you're gone. If you're out for a week and nobody misses you, it's not a good sign. The work gets done in spite of your absence. Oh, have you been on vacation? I didn't even know. You should be alarmed if that's the case. If you're not being missed, then maybe, just maybe, you're not needed. So you need to kick it into a new gear. Produce more than what you've been producing. Because you have treasure in you, you have talent, skill, that should cause you to be noticed. That should cause you to be indispensable where you are. Scripture says, do you see a person skilled in their work? They will stand before kings and great men. So keep sharpening your skills. Why? Because cream always rises to the top. As a condition of the Pandavas' 13 years of exile, they had to spend the last 1 year incognito. If anybody were to recognize them, they would have to then again go into exile for another 13 years. So here's a picture of the Pandavas presenting themselves at the palace door of King Virat, who was ruler of the Matsya kingdom. They gave themselves false identities and presented themselves as outcasts. Aim was to blend into the woodwork to not be noticed. Bhisma, who loved cooking, he got a job in the kitchen. Nakula was very good with horses, and so he got a job managing the horses. Sahadev was great with cows, so he got a job doing that. And Arjuna, because he was a great warrior and archer, he actually was able to teach dancing skills to the young ladies. Now, Yudhisthira, all the Pandavas were noble, but Yudhisthira stood out. When King Virat saw Yudhisthira, he said, I'm not going to put him in the kitchen. I'm not going to put him in the horses and the cows. I'm not going to put him in the... I want this guy to be by my side. This is going to be my advisor, my counselor. He noticed the royal bearing of Yudhisthira, the maturity, the imperturbability, and he wanted him for his friend. And within 1 year, Yudhisthira was running the whole kingdom. From having wandered in as a beggar, a homeless, unknown, Yudhisthira was running the whole kingdom. There wasn't a single decision, major or minor, that the king didn't seek Yudhisthira's approval for. You know what that was? That was skills finding their own level. That was cream rising to the top. Don't use where you are as an excuse not to grow. Don't say, oh, I have a good job. No, that means you've lost your passion. Remember, treasure is still in you. Krishna is saying, don't settle. Because when you settle, there's a danger of soaking. And when you settle and soak, there's a danger of souring. So Krishna is saying, keep using your gifts. Stretch yourself. Take some courses. Associate with the all-powerful, the all-creative Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. You should be so productive, so filled with wisdom and maturity and skills that no matter where you are, no matter where you find yourself, like Yudhisthira, you will rise to the top. And here's another thought. When you use your time profitably, when you study, and when you learn, young man, some people may call you a bookworm. Some may call you a geek. Some may call you a nerd. But our advice is don't worry about that. If you keep doing what you're doing, pursuing excellence and improving yourself, you know what they'll be calling you in a few years? They'll be calling you boss. They'll be calling you CEO. They'll be calling you president, pastor, senator, doctor. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Our clarion call is that each and every one of you has a destiny to fulfill. God has amazing things in your future, and it's critical, among other things, that you surround yourself with the right people. If you're the smartest one in your group, then your group is too small. You need to be around people who know more than you, have more talent than you, not to be intimidated by them, but to be challenged and be inspired by them. If you take an oak tree seed and put it in a little 5-gallon pot, that tree will never grow to the size that it was designed to grow to. It's been restricted by the size of the pot. In the same way, Krishna, God, has created you to do great things, to grow to be, metaphorically speaking, a tree. Talent, ability, skills, all of that on the inside. But we don't want to be restricted by a small-minded, limited environment. Our friends may indeed be small-minded, and as such, they could very well be holding you back. If you're hanging around negative people, they're going to drag you down. Small-minded, gossips, complainers, compromisers. Get yourself, if necessary, out of that little pot, because God created you to soar, to be unlimited, to experience freedom. And it's fine to help people in need, but you don't have to invite them into your apartment. You need talented and smart people in your life, not people who are always blaming others, who are dysfunctional, singing the same old sad song. Winners are people who are further along than you. Winners are those who can challenge you and inspire you to rise higher. Winners are those who can make you also what they are, a winner. But you have to do one thing, which is to take responsibility for your own growth. If you do that, God will be pleased. He'll honor your efforts. You'll see promotion, good breaks, businesses, books, songs, divine connections in your future. All you have to do is prepare for the greatness that God wants you to assume. Don't sit, soak, and sour. No, there's treasure in you, but it has to be excavated, has to develop. To that end, redeem the time, make a decision to grow somehow, in some way, every single day. If you keep sharpening your skills and getting better, here's Krishna's, God's promise to you. Your gifts will make room for you. Like with Prabhupada, like with Yudhisthira, because you're going to be prepared. I believe that Krishna, God, is going to thrust you into the fullness of your destiny. Open doors that you could have never opened on your own. Go further than you could ever think or even imagine, and become the winner, the person of influence, the barrier breaker that He's created you to be. In this life and in the next life, you'll go back to home, back to Godhead. And thank you very much for your kind attention. And if any of that resonated with you, you're invited to raise your arms, and we can all contact the Supreme Creative Living Being by chanting His holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.